When the inhabitants of Capella arrived on Earth, there were only very primitive people on planet, who struggled for their survival, did not cultivate anything, and were not even ready for any kind of construction. Your more knowledgeably advanced brothers began to be born here among you after the exile of Capella. New ways of thinking were introduced, new problem-solving abilities were implemented, and thus, little by little, the advancement of your civilizations continued. Over time, cities formed, as we have already told you, and became too large, with a high concentration of people. This is the reason that led the inhabitants of Atlantis to form new cities, among them Lemuria and Sulphura, pronounced Solterra. In that time on Earth, urban concentrations were in city-states and not several cities and villages that formed states. People all lived close to large centers. Lemuria began as a village of 50 families and gradually grew, with the arrival of new people and activities to be developed. The social pyramid of Lemuria was the same as that of Atlantis. Everything was organized by the activities performed, at the same level of equality and importance, whether it was hunting, fishing, agriculture, mining, construction, or public management of property, which was the role of the priests, the elders, who could more easily communicate with God and the benevolent spirits. To these rulers were passed on information about the best decisions to be made for the benefit of all. In the cities in general, there was always a council that determined the rules and laws and that effectively managed conflicts and daily situations. This council was made up of all the oldest leaders of each area of activity in the cities. In this way, there was a balance of listening to the side of each sector of Lemurian society. Lemuria had a balanced and prosperous life. It was not so close to Atlantis. Its first inhabitants purposefully wanted distance from the chaos that was forming in Atlantis. These were people who preserved love and respect in their hearts, virtues that gradually ceased to exist among the citizens of Atlantis. While the great metropolis grew in structure and declined in virtues, Lemuria prospered greatly and began to attract the good people of Atlantis. The natural consequence of this was that chaos reigned in one and abundance in the other, the division of social classes in one, equality in the other, the sense of importance of some over others in one, the awareness of full rights and duties in the other. In the years leading up to the fall of Atlantis, there was great commotion in Lemuria with the story of a group of young Atlanteans. They belonged to the fighting and guard classes of the city. They were strong, disciplined, committed to the order and security of the place. They had not been corrupted by the unofficial laws of benefits for some and lack for others. They were there to serve their people and truly believed that they were admired and respected for it. On a day during their strength and courage training, they were challenged by another group of young people, the fishing group, to go far out to sea and swim back to shore. The group that arrived fastest would be seen as the strongest and would receive an official title of bravery. This was an agreement made between the young people and did not have the approval of the council. On the agreed date, all the young people, 10 from each group, boarded a type of caravel and set sail. At the designated point, the young guards jumped into the sea first and then saw that the fishing group raised the hatches, hoisted sails, and began to leave in the boat, leaving them behind. Before leaving, they threw a large quantity of dead fish and animals into the sea to attract sea predators, and so they departed, laughing and leaving the 10 young people to their own fate. Only one of them survived, managing to reach the shore to tell what happened. The others were killed, drowned, or devoured by species of large fish similar to sharks. This event caused a popular revolt of great proportions. All the dissatisfaction of the people, who were oppressed by the injustices of social imbalances, came to the surface, and a huge wave of looting and depredation occurred in the city. All the monuments and buildings were vandalized, the houses of the groups that practiced injustices were destroyed, everything was stolen. The 10 young men from the fishing group were murdered, and their bodies were thrown into the sea for the fish to devour. The scene in Atlantis was one of true horror, with fires and devastation everywhere. It took a month for the situation to calm down. The council met and defined new rules, arrests were made, and new constructions began to be erected. In Lemuria, when news of the tragedy of the young men reached them, the Central Council immediately met and coordinated a prayer group and prepared ceremonies to honor the young Atlanteans. The Lemurians had a fraternal relationship with the Atlanteans, seeing them as ancestors. A temple of honor was erected in homage to the 10 warriors whose bravery, courage, and greatness of heart overcame the waters and evil. This temple began to receive constant visits from the Atlantean people, and in honor of the warriors, official celebrations were held every year. The group of 10 young men became, for Atlanteans and Lemurians, the protective spirits of God's official guard and were forever honored as such, as great guardian spirits. The Temple of the 10 is intact, preserved, and holds within it an immense portal of spiritual connection between Lemuria and Atlantis. This link was never broken, even with the great flood of Atlantis. 200 years after the event with the young men, the fall of Atlantis occurred. On a dark night with very little moonlight, a huge earthquake occurred, everything that was standing came down, all the buildings and houses turned to ruins. Most people died because they were asleep and could do nothing. The earth gave way, a huge fissure split the city in two, and soon after this nocturnal chaos, a giant wave took everything, leaving nothing. Atlantis succumbed. The water advanced long distances and even covered a part of Lemuria. A portion of its inhabitants also died. This event also marked the Lemurians immensely, as they had lost loved ones and their history, the sacred records of Atlantis. It was a harsh lesson for the survivors, the loss of everything they knew about their past. What remained were the memories of the elders, who passed on sacred knowledge from generation to generation. A portion of them is recorded in the form of legends in your sacred book, the Bible. Lemuria was also gradually and brutally changed. People, laws, and the climate. As time passed, the city became increasingly cold, the winters became more and more severe and longer. The city was gradually covered in snow, until ice covered everything. With the arrival of the intense cold, the exodus from Lemuria was natural. Those who survived could not remain there, as there was no more agriculture, only fishing. Few remained. The migratory flow then shifted to the Americas and the Mediterranean, where your civilizations are located today. You are all brothers and sisters, descendants of the same people, except for the original Africans and Eastern peoples, as they were already existing civilizations at the time of Atlantis and Lemuria. The time has come to rediscover this lost link. Soon your people will be able to correlate the facts of the sacred book with concrete evidence. It will be a new time on earth. Brotherhood will be the guiding law among you. There will be no more separation of nations. All will be one people, the children of Gaia. Galactic Brothers and Sisters. Andromeda, May 29, 2025.